Howdy guys, what's up? This is Joseph King here, hoping you guys are having a fabulous Thursday, or at least Thursday here in the US. Not sure what day it is in other parts of the world, could already be Friday. I don't know, but I hope your day slash evening slash night, whatever, is going well. This recording is mainly intended for those who are unfamiliar with my drum kit and the sort of the thinking behind why I went with a custom kit, and how that custom kit's measurements and the like kind of came to fruition, and all that kind of good stuff, plus the journey that I've had playing it up until now. So, let's get started. So why did I want to have a custom kit built in the first place? Well, it wasn't by choice. It was more out of necessity than anything else. I used to have a really nice maple walnut Mapex kit. I think it was a Mapex Saturn. Fabulous kit. 10, 12, 14, and 16 toms, 22 by 18 kick. And the snare, which was not Mapex, was a Tama, actually, 6 by 14 Soundworks maple snare. Sounded great. But unfortunately, while the kit sounded great, it was not conducive to me gigging, which I would like to start doing. I've been trying to find some gigs for a while, but unfortunately haven't managed to find anything yet, unless you count me playing with my church every Sunday. Although with that, I'm not able to use my acoustic kit, but I digress. So, out of necessity came the idea to go for a more portable kit. Now, at first, I was going to get a kit from Thai Drums, which is a drum company that I read up on, and they had a drum kit called the Go Kit, which was kind of designed as this portable style drum kit. The drum shells were a lot smaller, though I would have had a fourth tom added with a 14 by 7 inch that they had on sale, or rather on offer, I should say. Sorry about the wind, by the way. I'm standing outside my drum shed. In fact, let me just go and move in here. There we go. So, anyway, the Thai Drums, the Go Kit. I wanted to get that originally, but upon doing some researching, I discovered that it would have been a bit more expensive, by a fair amount, actually, to get that rather than to go the custom route, at least with this builder that I was looking at. So, fast forward a couple months later, after I had sold my Mapex kit back in September and October of last year, or thereabouts. Or was it November? I forget. Anyway, I sold the Mapex kit to actually fund the cost for this custom kit, because I knew it was worth a fair bit, and I figured I was going to get a fair amount for it. And as luck would have it, I got enough to pay for the kit itself. So, with that being said, I contacted the builder that I chose to go for, or with, which is Renee Audette of Billy Blast Drums, which is a drum company based in California. Website is www.billyblastdrums.com if you're interested in taking a look at what they have on offer there. Great stuff. Anyway, so I contacted Renee and said, hey, I'd like to make a kit with these measurements. And I kind of gave him some measurements that I'd come up with that were similar to those that I had seen on the Thai Drums Go Kit, which were, if I remember correctly, the rack tom, smallest tom, was 8 by 4 or 4.5 probably. Maybe it was an 8 by 5, I forget. One of those two. But then the rack tom was like 10 by 6.5, or 10 by 5.5, I should say, and 12 by 6.5 was the size of their floor tom, quote unquote. So I wanted a 6-piece kit. That's what I'm used to playing on, with 4 toms, a kick, and a snare. Speaking of the kick, on the Thai Drums, it was a 18 by 7.5, I think, and the snare was 13 by 4.5. Great little snare drum. and there's a helicopter flying and disrupting the recording. Sorry about that, guys. So I thought about it, and I'm like, hey, I wonder if I can possibly try to get this drum kit sort of like built, or at least one similar to it, because I loved the sound that the Thai drums had. It had a good amount of punch, good amount of tone, and for poplar shells, it was quite warm. So I contacted Rene and asked him, hey, can you make me a drum kit with these dimensions? Now, I chose to go 8x4, 10x5, 12x6, and 14x7 for my toms. That's measured as diameter by depth, by the way. And 18x10 for the kick, so it's a bit deeper, so I get a bit more low end. And the snare drum is still 13x4.5. Now, I knew that from doing some research before I actually contacted him that all his shells were Keller maple. And I wanted them finished in a natural finish to sort of let the wood grain display its natural colors, which it does, and it does so fabulously. For those interested, I'll try to post this on YouTube, by the way, with a thumbnail of the kit so you guys can see what it looks like. However, if I can't, this audio recording will still suffice, hopefully. I'm actually not sure what color it is. With me being blind, I actually can't see it. I want to say it's kind of like a darkish brown, maybe. It's not black. Maybe like a darkish brown, or a middling dark brown, if that makes any sense. But that was what I wanted to go for the finish, and that was able to be done. I did ask him to see if he could finish it in piano black, but that would have been an extra $150. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and not do that. I'll just have him do the natural gloss finish, which with that and not counting shipping, the kit itself was $9.95. That's $9.95 USD, by the way. And then with shipping, which was $95, it was going to be just under $1,100, which for a custom kit is not at all bad. So that's basically how the kit was born. I got it on February 7th, I think, earlier this year. I had some small issues with the snare drum when I first got it and had to send that drum back, but they were fixed and all that stuff worked. Now, it's also worth noting that I had to sell the cymbals that I had with the old kit as well, because I knew that they were going to overpower the sound of this kit. This was designed mainly to be played in small spaces. Think like coffee houses, jazz clubs, smaller club-type venues, etc., etc. So, not a whole lot of space dedicated to kit setup and stuff like that. So I wanted, again, something that I could just very easily use to play in those kind of spaces, and this works fabulously. As I said before, the sizes of the drums are 8x4, 10x5, 12x6, 14x7 for the toms, 18x10 for the kick, 13x4.5 for the snare. All the heads that I use are Aquarians. I use deep vintage 2s on top, which are 2-ply heads, and they are 20 mil thick, so that's 2 plies of 10 mil film. On the bottoms, I use classic clears. On the kick, I use a deep vintage 2 with a super kick ring, and then on the resonant, I use a single ply regulator with a porthole to allow for more punch. For the snare, I use an Aquarian mono vintage thin. Snare side is a classic clear snare side head, 3 mil thick. The mono vintage thin, by the way, is 7 mil thick, I do believe. And the snare wires are branded by a company called DFD, stands for Drum Factory Direct. They are German style, 20 strand snare wires, and they are probably the most articulate wires I've ever put on a snare drum. They're amazing. For the cymbals, I decided to go with bossphorus. After listening to some demos, I had fallen in love with them, and they are fabulous. I have some 14-inch master vintage hi-hats on my left here. In front of me, I have a 16-inch master vintage crash. To the right, on this little boom arm, which I just got today, I have a 12-inch black pearl splash. And on the very far right, I have a 21-inch master vintage ride, which is great for jazz and Latin and funk and all the stuff. So, now that I've kind of given an explanation of the kit, let's see what you guys think of its sound. I'll do the drums individually with snares off first, and then snares on, and then I'll do a groove. So, let go. Toms. Kick. Snare. Same demo, snares on. there you go. There is a little explanation of my drum kit and a sample of how it sounds. Hope you enjoy this. If you have any questions, do feel free to reach out to me, either on Twitter, musicman5464, or also Mastodon, where I'll be posting this. JDKING92 at dragonscave.space. Till next time, stay cool.